program here for the 14th time. First of all, I'm very glad to see you. And though there are very few of us, I suppose it will prevent us from getting outward pleasure from our communication with each other. And just a few words about our course in Russian, just for everyone to understand what we are going to do. Итак, я раздала вам сейчас листочки на фон. Каждый из вас получил номерочек. Номерочек, который у вас сейчас уже прикован на груди, это ваш порядковый номер. Порядковый номер выступления. Естественно, мы будем озвучивать, кто у нас под каким номером выступает. И все остальные, пожалуйста, обращайте внимание на номер участника, потому что сегодня единственное, что мы можем сегодня подвести какой итог, это только приз зрительских симпатий. Поэтому победить, то есть в конце нашего с вами конкурса, я вас очень попрошу написать номер наиболее понравившегося вам участника. В конце мы, безусловно, их еще раз озвучим, попросим встать, да, показаться зрителям, потому что не всегда вот так сразу заметно, кто есть кто. И, к сожалению, мы не можем вас сразу, так сказать, вам сразу объявить все результаты нашего конкурса, я имею в виду победителей и призеров. Информация об этом появится в понедельник на нашем сайте и на сайте ЕНАШ, я имею в виду Единой независимой ассоциации преподавателей. Вручение памятных призов и наград, то есть грамот, состоится 30 марта, где и конкретно когда, во сколько, я сообщу, естественно, победителям и призерам просто лично на почту. Договорились? То есть вашим преподавателям и участникам. Ну, а познакомиться вы сможете на сайте, я думаю, что вы все это увидите и с этим увидите эту информацию воочию. Well, our honorable jury, I would like to introduce. Я даже не называю практически кто и откуда, но все равно как-то приходится называть, потому что иногда немножко так люди удивляются. Ну, во-первых, председатель нашего жюри, Машкова Лариса Александровна. Она нас представляет Московский государственный университет. На самом деле она стоит уже у истоков нашего конкурса. Более того, практически все темы, которые у нас вообще всегда бывают в нашем конкурсе, это плод творческой фантазии. И, в общем-то, действительно человек, который может придумать такие темы, найти такие цитаты, найти такие вещи, это вот все как раз Лариса Александровна. Более того, она самая прекрасная оратор, и я думаю, вы в этом обязательно убедитесь. Она Елена Бакадзе, один из людей, которые помогли родиться этому конкурсу, который действительно появился в Южном округе, а потом он так уже распространился немножечко дальше и шире. Поэтому я просто не могу не пригласить ее в жюри, потому что это действительно человек, который знает этот конкурс изнутри, знает, как он проводится, знает все нюансы этого конкурса. Поэтому, конечно же, это и ее большая заслуга в том числе. Ремезова Алла Валерьевна, человек, который вообще с этой школой тоже связан давно на самом деле, но сейчас работает совершенно в другом месте. Знаете как, вот на основе того, что мы знаем друг друга очень давно, много-много лет, и я, естественно, вот на дорогой мне сердцу конкурс зову людей, которые действительно этот конкурс тоже любят, понимают, и, соответственно, вот Алла Валерьевна как раз из тех, кто в этом конкурсе, наверное, тоже принимал не один раз участие, приводил своих участников, кстати, в свое время, да, поэтому человек, который тоже знает этот конкурс замечательно. Ну и вы видите, у нас людей в военной форме в нашем жюри, да, у нас появились в прошлом году, в этом году появились кадетские классы, и у нас зарождаются связи с военным университетом Министерства обороны в УМО. И поэтому я всегда хочу, чтобы наш с вами конкурс был все-таки как можно более независимым. Да? Я всегда приглашаю людей, которые не столь заинтересованы им интересно посмотреть, насколько старшеклассники владеют английским языком, насколько они могут себя проявить в таком конкурсе, как конкурс ораторского мастерства на английском языке, а раньше это было на разных иностранных языках. Поэтому разрешите мне представить капитан Бабков Максим Юрьевич, преподаватель английского языка.
Зарипов Руслан Викторович. Молодое поколение преподавателей, которые, я думаю, с удовольствием тоже послушают вас и с удовольствием вас будет оценивать. Но начать, наверное, мне бы хотелось все-таки предоставить слово, so giving the floor to Alisa Alexander. I hope that you will enjoy it.
So, my dear colleagues, for the 14th time already, we gather in this fantastic hall within these walls, and we're going today yet again to have the feast, the real feast of foreign languages, which are so important as a part of everybody's education in the modern world. And with your permission, I would like to comment on one of the topics that you're going to give talks on today. And this is actually about language being the key to the hearts of the people. Indeed, this is very, very true and essential. Well, we can recall Turgenev's words, for example, about the great, the powerful, honest, or maybe truth-loving, and free Russian language. And indeed, if it were not for our language, we would feel desperate, desolate, lonely in this world. Well, you see, it all starts with the language, with our native language, when we are first born. And it continues till the end of our lives. And we need to be responsible for the language, our native language, and all other languages. Because believe me, they suffer a lot. We need to be very, very cautious about how we pronounce certain words, about what we say in general, because there are very many dangers around. Indeed, why should we, for example, spell the fantastic word Tallinn with double N? Well, why not? We have a fantastic word, Ashgabat. Why should we spell it Ashgabat? Well, have you ever thought about that? Nobody actually expects from us to pronounce London instead of London, or Canada instead of Canada. Because each word, each language has its own rules, and we need to obey these rules. So what does it mean? It means that we need to defend our language. And each language is a marvel. It's a wonder. It can do everything. It can cure, heal, it can instill hope. Well, we continue studying our native language till the end of our lives. And this is a very natural process. Well, only when I found myself in the museum in Stratford-upon-Avon, where great Shakespeare was born, it suddenly dawned on me what it means. Good night, sleep tight. We all know these words. But what is it all about? Good night, sleep tight, wipe tight. Indeed. Because in those times, so the bottom of the bed was made up of ropes, or rather belts, that have to be tightened from time to time to make the bed more comfortable. That's it. And, well, there are very many other revelations awaiting us at every corner, every day. But no, we're not going to sleep tight. We are going to listen to your speeches, wonderful speeches, and to admire them. And with your permission, I'm going now to declare the 14th speaking contest open. And I'm going to repeat the motto, one of the mottos of this contest, recalling the words of great Shakespeare. Come, give us the taste of your quality. Present the best of yourselves, and good luck to you. All the best. Bye.
So I would like to begin our contest with the youngest participant of our contest. You won't see the number, but she is a pupil of only the 6th form. So that is why, so she was so much eager to participate in our contest. That is why we decided to invite her. So that is why I give the floor to Aripetyan Jacqueline. You're welcome. So if you need a microphone, so you will take it. If you don't, so it's up to you to decide. Agree? Well, thank you very much, so you're welcome.
Today I would like to tell you my opinion on the quotation by Ahmed David. Language is a key to the heart of people. Language, speech, is a gift that God gave us. With the help of speech, we can strengthen or spoil the relationship with a person. For example, when we talk to someone and use many compliments, kind words, the speech becomes emotional, the words become sincere, and the person immediately wants to open her to you. I urge you to compliment each other more than often. Find time to say, I'm sorry, please, thank you, I love you, and all the words of love that you know. Thanks. Я хотела бы приветствовать вас с сонетом Шекспира. Это сонет номер 91. Some glory in their works, some in their skill, some in their wealth, some in their body's grace, some in their garments so offended ill, some in their hopes and homes, some in their pores. And every humor has his adjunct feature, but these particular are not my nature. All these I better in one general quest. Love is better than her yours to me, richer than wealth, rather than garments costs, of more delight than hopes and horses be, and having faith of all men's pride I boast. Wished in this long, was to mistake, all this away, and I must reach it.
Thank you very much. So as I told to Julie, so that is our golden participant in future. I do hope that the contest won't die. I really do hope for that. So that is why I invite you, those who are 9th formers or 10th formers, to come next year again. So, and now, Shamrin Yakov will That's it, of course. So just turn it on, so
Did you understand why I started with the sounds of electric cartographer? They represent the rhythm of our heartbeats, ups and downs. It's our natural state to experience these surges. They are vitally important for us to stay alive. Our life also reminds a kind of a cardiogram with its successes and failures. Every day something new starts in our lives. New ideas can come even while you are drinking coffee in the morning. You feel so good imagining your dreams coming true very soon. You understand, every idea will need a serious approach. It will take a lot of time and effort from you. You say, it's okay, I will handle with the soul, you say to yourself. Then you open your eyes, come back to reality, and understand how many difficulties you will come across. How many failures will bring you down, and you think it's better to forget about a great idea. Many things we want to come true never happen because of possible failures which bring our hopes and dreams every time it happens to us. Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm, Winston Churchill said once. Sure, a lot of things can ruin our success, but it's a serious stimulus to fight for your aims, ambitions, and dreams. I found this story in the internet. It's a story of a man who overcame his disease, successfully achieved his life goals, and made his dreams come true. His name is Sean Swarton. You can see the picture of him. At the age of 13, he was diagnosed the first stage of lung cancer. Due to doctor's prognosis, he had to die in less than 3 months. Nevertheless, he managed to cope with his illness. After that, cancer came back again. Sean was operated and doctors said that this patient wouldn't live more than 2 weeks. But he never lost his enthusiasm. He never lost the strength to fight for his life. After 10 years, he became popular all over the world as the first man who was cured of the 4th stage of lung cancer. More than that, he was the first one who climbed the Everest after conquering this terrible disease. I think it's one of the brightest examples of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. I will always bear in mind this example whenever I pass from success to failure. My name is Jakub Shamrin. Thank you for listening.
Well, Nicola is invited. Well, I'm sorry, so she's in as far as I see. Well, good. Now, Sergei Elizaveta is coming. Well, so she's a pupil only of the 8th form, so that is why that is information for jury. So, of course, quite young for our contest, but once again, so they were eager to do that. You're welcome.
Good morning, dear listeners. I would like to present to you my topic. Discipline is just choosing between what you want now and what you want most. After a lot of meditations, I have chosen this topic for my performance, though I find it difficult to enlarge upon it. For me, the word discipline itself sounds unpleasant and even hostile. It's often accompanied by the word arrogant. Since early childhood, we have been repeating these words over and over again in the kindergarten, then in school, then in university. Needless to say that adults should follow some written and unwritten rules all their life. That is to maintain discipline. So, the word discipline associates with doing necessary chores, behaving properly in public places, wearing what you are told to wear, etc. Here, I'm not going to speak to this point. In my opinion, here I should focus on so-called self-discipline, which I'm sure does determine the course of your future life. It's not what we are told to do or not to do, but is the basis of what we personally want to achieve. As a perfect example, I would like to mention the great English writer Charles Dickens, who was known as a well-organized man, able to set goals and systematically took steps to achieve them. Sometimes even his family members and friends reproach him for being too strict and demanding to himself. Anyway, he justified such discipline not only as necessary for the success of his carefully thought-over plans, but as moral training. Just a moment, moral training? And what does it mean? In my opinion, it's self-upbringing, self-development, when you don't do something under pressure just to please somebody, but to make yourself understand that you must do something first and foremost, however tempting your immediate wishes are. All people, including teenagers like me, have hundreds of immediate wishes that sometimes make us postpone more important matters. Very often we face a choice to do something what we terribly want now, what is often connected with something pleasant and entertainment that doesn't take much effort. And we often out to the tempting wish harmfully to something important and connected with something less pleasant, with studying, for example. A person with internal ramrods will definitely fuse from agreeable pastime to the benefit of more important matters. Dear listeners, I would like to be understood correctly. I'm not trying to persuade anybody to be chained to a desk or a place of work and forget about social life, entertainments, and just relaxation. I mean that one should fully understand the difference between what he wants now on this very day or evening and what he wants most. So, to be a person of integrity, one should be able to switch on self-discipline and weigh the importance of the immediate wish and the long-term goal. When you see what overweights, it will be kind. It will be clear what kind of person you are. Thank you very much.
No, I see. So then, Larissa Alexandra is invited.
Winston Churchill, or Sir Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill, to be meticulously exact. Does this name say anything to you? A famous British politician, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, in one of his numerous sayings, points out the fact that success is not always what it seems to be and is never easily achieved. Indeed, many successful people never actually open up a secret as to why and how they have got so far. But it is mainly because there is no secret. What? How? You may exclaim in a misunderstanding with a slight hint of surprise. Well, let me tell you. The fact is, every failure itself serves as a key to eventual success, and no matter how unappealing things may look at the moment, eventually everything will add up and lead to that very anticipated victory. However, if you give up too soon, not willing to follow the tough road to your cherished goal anymore, do not be confused when you miserably fail to catch up to success. And that conclusion leads me to one more important matter mentioned by Churchill, which simply cannot escape my attention. Enthusiasm. Now, from right standing, it is one of the most crucial components of every journey toward a dream, whether it is to get good grades at school or to find a remedy for cancer. Where there is no enthusiasm, passion, or any other form of inner fire, goals will rarely be achieved, if at all. And Churchill was absolutely right about not ever losing it, for it keeps you in a positive mindset despite all the troubles you may, and probably will, face along the way. And yet, success is changeable. We sometimes pursue it believing it holds the key to our happiness, while hiding behind wealth and fame to make up for our childhood insecurities. Let me see. Let us not stop at the sad statement that if we pursue success for the wrong reason, then we amplify the self-doubt that is already present within us. And go on with more natural and cheerful reasons for achieving success by setting a quick example. We need not go far, for Winston Churchill himself serves an example like no other. Now, we all know him as the leader of the United Kingdom during the World War II era, but what most don't know is the very tough road he had to travel to get there. It's an interesting fact that Churchill did very poorly at school, and his father even thought he was retarded because he always finished at the bottom of his class. He even failed the 6th grade and had to take a math exam over 3 times to finally pass. His father originally wanted him to become a lawyer, so Churchill tried to get in both Oxford and Cambridge, but unfortunately was kicked out. One day, Churchill's father suggested he should become a lawyer. No, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. Churchill's father suggested that he should pursue a career in the army, but even there, being the First Lord of the Admiralty and then the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, he has undergone many failures and once even told the news of the world publication, "I am finished." That comment, however, proved very far from the actual truth, for Churchill was obviously never the one to give up easily. He kept on trying and thus succeeded. As we can see, success never comes out of nowhere. And if you work hard enough, you can achieve anything, which Winston Churchill himself proves a great deal. If Churchill and I haven't made it clear yet, I don't know who will. Thank you.
Well, self-reason. Чилички на даче. You're welcome.
My name is Daria. I would like to greet the jury and audience. Today we are talking about a really important topic, which concerns undoubtedly 100% of the world's population, about ups and downs on the way to success. But downs can become a barrier to the goal achievement. I consider the topic success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm to be complicated, and we should study it using the stories of outstanding personalities whose way was full of failures, but they so truly believed in their dream that they managed to achieve their aims. If you are told, or will be told that the road to success is easy, don't believe them. They tell lies. If you see an ideally successful life of a particular person and think that this has always been so, it's just a pretty cover and you're mistaken. Turn around, pay attention to some details. I suppose many people like Disney cartoons, and a lot of them have a dream to see their favorite characters in the Disneyland. But only a few people know that the Walt Disney, founder of the Walt Disney Company, was fired from the newspaper Kansas City Star for the absence of imagination and intelligence. Learning from his own mistakes, he created the Walt Disney Company, which now earned billions of dollars. They say that before business people agreed to finance the company, he had received 302 refusals. Well, and now we should consider a great topic about food. It's my favorite. I believe everyone has been to such a paradise place like McDonald's. Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, sold pepper glasses until he was 52. Once he had an idea of a restaurant in which customers would be served as quickly as possible. To realize his idea, he mortgaged his house and insurance. As a result, he lived for 30 years and earned $600 million. And here are the lives of these people. What can you say? Impressed? I am. But what do all of them have in common? Inspiration, enthusiasm, and belief in their dreams, despite their failures. Downs are not important on the way to success if you have courage, passion. There only can be additional motivation to prove yourself. Nobody else, but I can, and I will do this, and will become the person what I want. That's all, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dina, kind of like a dinosaur, shall we? An American public thinker and an actor, Eric Hoover, once said, "You can never get enough of what you don't really need." An iconic band, The Clash, once said, "I'm all lost in the supermarket. I can no longer shop happily. I came in here for that special offer, a guaranteed personality. Public thought and music have pretty much always reflected the most relevant and urgent issues of our society. As for these two exquisite quotations, both the actor and the band are implying at, I dare say, the most controversial phenomenon of all time, the birth of consumerism. So, what is consumerism? To tell a long story short, consumerism or consumer society is a brand new society where people shop, therefore they are happy and they exist. That means that the oppressive majority of people builds up their identities by buying things. And consumerism constantly operates on our greatest vulnerabilities and weaknesses, on the basic and trivial human vanity and our subconscious desire to fit in. Let me explain. Humanity has a tremendous flaw. We are addicted to comparing ourselves with not only people in similar social positions, but additionally with those way higher than we are. Thus, every time you open a random Kardashian Instagram account and see their enormous wealth, perfect bodies, fascinating households, and so on, you automatically end up comparing all the locks that they have with this little that you possess. So what? You immediately wonder, well, that is how the void, this tangible and overwhelming feeling of discontent and dissatisfaction is born. How to fill that void? In consumer society, where we doubtlessly live now, most of the people find the answer in shopping. I'm not denying, shopping is great, right? Shopping is also a very tricky compensator for a variety of daily stresses, misfortunes, setbacks. A new IKEA chair, a new matching t-shirt, a fancy car that costs a fortune. All of these things seem to bring content, even temporary comfort and fake happiness to our lives. Wait, not as good as it sounds, because there is a trick. When you shop in order to bring value to your life, you unleash a monster, a wild beast growing on hunger. The more you feed that monster, the more you shop, the more it wants. Why is this monster so insatiable? Then you also have to ask yourself, who created that monster? That's right, all these large companies and transnational corporations, basically the goods providers that are concentrated on making their profit. What they genuinely care for is their proceeds, not your happiness. They spread this shopaholic monstrosity, an illusion of a perfect life, as they're trying to persuade us that we desperately need their stuff. They want us to feel out of date, out of trance. They fuel our materialistic desires so that we become addicts, like heroin junkies, and buy something new constantly. That results in the fact that now we buy certain things not to actually use them, but to demonstrate our place in the social food chain. We're no longer what we do as individuals, but what cars we drive and what clothes we wear. With constantly appearing inventions, complementaries, and additions, there will never be such thing as enough. The monster is now a giant, threatening to swallow our entire planet. Is there any way to deal with such an appalling issue? As a matter of fact, there is. For instance, before chasing after another brand new iPhone when your old one is doing well, cross-examine yourself. Think soberly. Do I really need it? Will it bring value to my life? Is that what I genuinely want? Or is that another vivid advertisement tells me I want? I beg of you, stop worshipping materialistic self-indulgence and consumption. It is so egocentric. We have to understand that purchasing of goods we are repeatedly told we must possess, they'll never satisfy our longing for meaning or make us more whole, complete individuals. Consumption itself simply cannot fill the emptiness of lives that have no real fundamental purpose. Break the vicious cycle. Just let go of all the things you bought because you felt obligated to. Once you do that, once all of us do that, I humbly assume we can finally start changing the world for the better, step by step, all together. Thank you.
Well, settle down. Kikis and brother, you're welcome.
All people make mistakes throughout their lives, but no one likes it. Fear of making a mistake turns our life into boredom,
in which there is no room for fantasy and risk. Obviously, one cannot do without errors, failures. Only competent work minimizes them. As a result, they will disappear altogether. It is the easiest for people to recover from the failures in which they were not driven by the fear of doing something wrong, but were focused on what they want to accomplish. People who make history see errors only as steps to new achievements. Winston Churchill said, "Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm." Thomas Edison created a working light bulb only after 1,000 failures. When asked about how he managed not to surrender, but to continue the experiments, he replied, "These were not failures. Just to create a light bulb, you need to do 1,000 steps." In addition to Edison, one can cite many examples of famous people who have succeeded in spite of any difficulties. I would like to remind you about the fate of famous entrepreneur Soichiro Honda. An illiterate mechanic from a small Japanese village dreamed of starting his own business. After collecting all the money, even selling his wife's jewelry, he set up production of pistol rings for the Toyota company. His fellow villagers were puzzled and surprised. How could an illiterate person start a business? In addition to the manufacture of pistol rings, Honda constantly worked on his own technical inventions, but for a long time he didn't succeed. His colleagues laughed at him. They thought that he should just continue to produce those rings and not invent anything new. Otherwise, Soichiro Honda would soon be ruined. They scoffed at him. It always happens because little people who are afraid to take a risk are afraid to take a step. They do not generally do anything meaningful themselves, but enthusiastically accept any of your defeats. They are glad that you have failed. It always happens. And this is the excuse for their dull life. This is an internal guarantee that they live correctly, do not take risks, and do not suffer. Imagine how Soichiro Honda felt when he heard these songs. But it was at that moment that a miracle happened. Soichiro figured out how to ride a bike without wasting energy. He attached a small motor to his wife's bicycle and made his first moped. If at that moment he listened to the so-called well-wishers and refused to continue to invent, maybe all his life he would be one of thousands of suppliers of Toyota company, unknown but quite a wealthy person. It was out of failure that the great empire of Honda was born, which is now among of the 5 largest automobile giants, producing 75% of all motorcycles in the world and a huge amount of necessary household appliances. Remember the success formula of Soichiro Honda. 99 defeats give 1 victory. This once again proves that without trial and errors, one can never reach the truth. You should not give up and stop. Let it be difficult. Sometimes the task will seem impracticable. But as Seneca wrote, through thorns to the stars. This means one should not lose enthusiasm to work. One can reach great heights. Thank you for listening.
So that was the time. Is there any call?
Hello everyone, I would like to talk to you about discipline. So speaking about discipline, I can say that it's the most important part of success. If you want to achieve a goal, you must be patient and work hard every day whatever happens, because a big goal is reached by little steps. So I think the success consists of 3 parts. It's the luck, fortune, and the most important part, as I said, discipline. And if we can affect on the first 2, the only thing that depends on us is the discipline. And personally, I think that everyone wants to be successful and manage one's life, not to mistake it to be an ideal person, to do something like a superhero, fast, live, and no sleep. But it doesn't work so, and we must always remember that. Remember that at this moment you can watch TV lying on the sofa and drink cola, or another station like that, and that's what you like now. At some moment I thought my rights. I can do it. I can learn English, or I can sing and be a singer. I can do physical exercises, lose weight, keep fit. I can start my own business or open my cafe, but I don't want to do it right now because I'm so tired, a bit lazy, and sure that I can relax, and then maybe tomorrow I'll start my global idea. Nice choice. Maybe you actually do, but sometime passed and you realized that you should have started earlier. But, oh, chance missed. And if you want to do something, you should begin right now. Don't decide until tomorrow, right now. And today, these little steps don't mean a lot. But if you continue, they grow into something more. Something that people usually call results. And it seems to me that many people frequently rely on some kind of miracle and luck. They secretly hope that someone strong will come and help them to achieve success. But to tell the truth, nobody cares about you and your life until you do something incredible. Something that impresses them greatly. Except your family and close friends, of course. And you don't have it up to the circumstances. I mean, you have to fight with them and act contrary to them. In fact, the world is full of millions of people like you, and you all have an equal chance of success. The only difference is that how you use it. So, if you want to do something, you should begin right now, as I said. And I leave it to that you are your actions and deeds. You are independent, you will, and if you don't want to leave your comfort zone and prevent circumstances from taking you away, so why are you still here? Discipline is just your continuing in tomorrow's small victory. A victory over yourself, over your shortage, and other things you don't like in yourself. And I think nobody wants to miss such a chance. Thank you.
Well, every person in the world dreams of being a success. However, the road to the top is hard and we don't immediately get what we want. The way to success is a series of takeoffs and falls, victories and defeats. Well, it often becomes the main purpose of human life, to achieve the need to success, to achieve the thing you desire, to achieve success. Psychologists and sociologists made the list of successful people traits on the basis of public researches, and we all are acquainted with them. Purposefulness, the ability to set the priorities and plan the time, the desire to improve yourself and not others. Imagine that you are a person who isn't satisfied with life. You want to change it, achieve success. You have read a list of qualities you need to develop and realize to strong and big points. You are ready to move to your aim. But, quite unexpectedly, your first attempt ends in defeat. What is your reaction? It is good if you continue to look at things positively. However, there are a lot of cases when people give up and stop fighting. The main thing you must understand at this stage is that all your defeats and falls are the essential parts of your way forward. Well, it's difficult to pull yourself together after misfortune, but you need to be strong. You need to make yourself continue fighting. In the end, any event, even a negative one, is a valuable experience. The next thing you need to do is be honest with yourself. Analyze your words and actions. At the same time, make sure that your self-assessment is up to reality. It isn't over or underestimated. Well, self-analyzing is a part of self-improvement too. Winston Churchill said, success is a going from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. Well, the lives of many famous people in the world can prove that. For example, Walt Disney is one of them. The well-known multiplier and director today, once he was just a poor artist. Little Walt was really keen on drawing, but he was born in such a poor family that little Walt could draw on the scraps of paper. Within his outstanding talent, he considered the job in movie studio easy. However, he was fired because of lack of ideas. But Disney didn't want to give up. At the age of 19, Disney opened his own movie studio. Walt Disney has never lost his enthusiasm, even in the hardest time of his career. I would like to finish my talk with well-known phrase of Winston Churchill. Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. So, believe in success, never give up, take risks, and rise greater than ever from your defeat. Thank you.
So, one more age form. So, please be so here. Please invite you.
Dear listeners, Winston Churchill was a very smart person, a brilliant policymaker, and besides, he had a very good sense of humor. Today, I would like to speak upon his quotation concerning success. Ways of achieving success in life is the things that cause discussions on different levels, and it's really difficult to find the proper recipe of success. So Winston Churchill asserts that success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. The essence of success is really complicated because, on the one hand, all people can achieve success, but paradoxically, not all people are able to do it. What does it depend on? Someone may say that it obviously depends on luck and fortune, and he would be right. Very often luck does work in people's fates. Still, luck can't continue forever and it can turn its back to you. Where to next? Then go personal features, necessary traits of character, persistence and willpower. So success is surely not for the weak. Success is free of complexes. It's independent on other people's opinions. Suppose you have a dream. You have something to say or demonstrate to people. Suppose you're sure that it will be interesting, useful, and appealing to others. Do you know that 20% or 100% will not like and accept your ideas? 20 or 100. It's a scientifically confirmed fact, you know. Will it stop you? Will you care so much about the opinion of this 20%? If you say yes and retreat, you will definitely achieve that. However, if you follow your course, if you follow your dreams, you will probably achieve your goals. You should always continue with smile and confidence in yourself. If confidence, optimism don't leave you, you will achieve all you want. And there is a perfect example from history. Do you know how many times Walt Disney tried to get a bank loan for his attraction park construction? 333 times. 333 times. He was rejected, but he came again. He was turned down, but he tried again and again. Can you imagine what would have happened if he hadn't tried again and again? We wouldn't have Disneyland, so wonderful and desired by millions of children all over the world. So success is not just blind fortune. It's our work, everyday routine work. When we know what we want and walk in this direction step by step. When we don't pay attention to this disappointing fact that some people don't like what we do. When failures don't stop us, but make us set teeth and try again. If you have a purpose and want to achieve success, you should be ready to take risks and assume responsibilities upon yourself. Undoubtedly, you should be adventurous by nature by all means. If the way to success reminds of the movement in a labyrinth, you walk slowly, by touch, hit an obstacle, turn right, turn left, fall, many times until you find the way. He who finds the way always risks. If you don't risk, you will remain in the same place. Dear listeners, success is work, hard work. Success is not a smooth way. It takes time and effort, but it is worth it. Thank you for your attention and sorry for my attention.
beginning was the Word. We all remember this line through the Bible, but have we ever bothered to think of the real value of words and language? Language has something more important than just a means of communication, exchanging information and conveying messages. We all know that the language developed from sounds and signals in the process of human evolution. It fulfilled practical purposes and helped people to survive, to unite, to carry out social functions. It developed, changed, occurred, new quality. It enriched itself through borrowing from outside. It evolved together with man and has become essentially important for all of us. When a person cannot talk about something he really cares about something which is really important to him, I think he's losing the meaning of life. For me, the most precious thing is to express my feelings, to say what I think and to listen to others. I cannot build a conversation, listening skills, and giving advices. However, essentially all of the skills mentioned above are forms of communication. All the people whom I consider closest friends now are those whom I can fully trust. It is also the people who at some moments can understand them without any talk, without any conversation. It happens through an internal dialogue. I believe in the kinship of souls. But I'm also convinced that it can happen only after sincere talk, sincere conversation. And only after that, souls can become related. Unfortunately, people always forget about this, and I don't understand why, but I feel so. It seems to me that they're trying to dig a hole with their own hands instead of taking a shovel and ask for help from people who also have shovels. We're mired in a world full of wars, full of destruction and quarrels. It has become absurd. Even though we are able to talk, we prefer should. But why does it happen? I assume that it happens exactly because language is the key to the people's hearts. I believe that by nature we are kind and sympathetic people who would gladly put off their weapons and prefer conversation to war. But why don't we do this? Why do people build walls instead of bridges in their relationships? Why are we so aggressive? Through loud statements, through agitation, promises of miracle, happiness, power, and all the things people from all over the world dream about, they are forced to do something cruel, to kill someone. Furthermore, these are the words that influence them. All the loud words of others promising them everything and even more. And this is natural for every human being, to believe in what was promised by means of words. These words melt people's hearts, allowing them to believe, hope, wait, or do terrible things. So, it can be said that in any situation, language is the key to the hearts of people. Thank you.
Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Winston Churchill. Is there anyone who wants to be a successful person? I suppose everyone does. But not everyone knows that the way to success is full of failures. There are two types of people reacting on failure. The first one is oh no, it's not for me, I'll never try it again. And the second one is, I'll try. I'll do my best one more time. Even celebrities' paths are often thorny and difficult. Jim Carrey was a boy from a poor family. He was forced to work, help his parents. At the age of 15, he tried himself in stand-up, but it wasn't successful at all. He felt upset, but 2 years later, tried again, and it was brilliant this time. Nowadays, he's one of the best comedians in the world. Abraham Lincoln had the rank of captain, but he lost it soon. He tried to start several businesses, but they all failed. Abraham was from a poor family too, so he had to overcome many difficulties and became a good lawyer. Nowadays, we know him as one of the most popular presidents in the American history. Have you heard about Alexei Fomin? He was a Soviet actor famous for his main role in Guest from the Future. After the film, he hadn't received any offers for several years. He felt upset and decided to serve in the army. However, he just wasted his time and got used to the alcohol. The result was rather sad. He died being young in a very stupid way. You see, life is not easy. There were certain failures in my life too. I used to have some problems with self-esteem. They had existed for several years. Can you imagine a 13-year-old girl sitting in the dark bathroom and crying for a few hours just because she hates her body, her face, and herself in general? When I was 15, I decided to get rid of it, so if you suffer from some problems, my experience may be useful for you. Unfortunately, your problems won't disappear if you just snap your finger like that. The main thing you should keep in your mind is you should laugh and respect yourself. I would like to add something else. Look for the information about successful people. Their experience may encourage and motivate you. Constantly move to your aim, never stop. If you analyze your mistakes, they will be your best helpers. Try to enjoy the process itself, just to feel comfortable. My first attempts to do that were a failure, but I kept on trying, and I have become quite a comfortable person by now. So, reaching your aim will hurt and take time. It will require dedication, willpower, and sacrifice. You will need to make healthy decisions, but when you reach your goal, it's worth it. The victory over yourself is more important than the victory over the world. Thanks.
Still have to look the list, of course. Sylvester, Ella, welcome.
The word success today has become very popular, especially among psychologists. You feel like being a loser? No problem. After a monthly course with our specialist, we guarantee 100% success in all your beginnings. As for me, I don't believe those promises. I guess it's just advertisement, aiming and making those professionals more successful and a bit wealthier. In fact, whenever we hear the word success, our immediate association is money. However, is it really so? What is failure? Failure is the opposite of success. When we hear the combination of these words, success and failure, we imagine someone running bankrupt and having lost a great sum of money. In this case, he would either lose all his enthusiasm and fall into depression, or after a visit to a specialist, of course, he would start all over again and never breathe a word about his loss. Loss of enthusiasm is a synonym of despair, lack of confidence, and despair and desire to move ahead. According to the Bible, it's one of the deadly sins, which the ancient wisdom tells us to avoid. On the other hand, this very wisdom proclaims that he who loves silver will not be satisfied by silver, nor he who loves abundance will increase. It means that even in the ancient times, people understood the benefit of success if it was measured in terms of money. Winston Churchill was one of the most successful politicians of all times and people. honored and respected for his political decisions. So what made him so successful? For him, success meant fulfillment of certain goals and missions, which sometimes were too global and too difficult to reach and complete. He realized that if a political leader ever loses his enthusiasm, he would have to resign because his responsibility for his country and his men was so great. Even if he said those words, it doesn't mean that they cannot be applied to our everyday life situations. So, if success means reaching your aims and enthusiasm, never losing your hope, what is failure? I guess failure is a kind of moral message that we are taught to become wiser. It's a kind of trial we have to pass to get new knowledge to go further. In fact, every failure is a hint from above, as if someone was directing and guiding us. To feel happy, having succeeded in something, we have to understand the state of failure. However, we shouldn't fall into depression, frustration, or apathy. It leads nowhere. Failure should fill us with enthusiasm, inspired to start anew and to go further and to change something in our lives. I guess that is what Winston Churchill wanted to say, is a kind of message he wanted to pass to us. I think the sense of life is to enjoy every moment of your life and not paying attention to failures and mistakes that you do. Life should be valued with all its ups and downs, valued as the most precious gift given to us. Thank you.
So, now we are doing the following. So, do you remember about vote for? Well, so you're welcome. So now I would like to show you the participants once again. So, Shamrin Yakov, number 1. So please look at the only man in this very audience auditory room. Then, Sergei Elizaveta, number 3. So, here she is. So let us applaud as well. So good. Borisova Alexandra, so she had to leave, so I'm sorry. Then, Chilichkina Dasha, number 6. Rozova Dina, number 7. Good. So, Nikitina Vlada, number 8. You're welcome. So, Radnova Svetlana, number 9. Good. Svetkina Alina, number 10. Good. Niznik Sofia, number 11. Bычkova Yana, number 12. Well, Gordeeva Dasha, number 13. And Siderskaya Ella, number 14. Well, so now you may vote for the, I suppose, the most wonderful speaker. So, and Yurina, I will ask you to hear that. So that is for you, so to remember this very contest, and we hope that you will participate next time, or maybe in 2 years, or in 3 years. So while we're alive. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, we have counted the votes of your preferences. Yasha, you're welcome. He was difficult, it was difficult, but I suppose he is worth doing that. So you're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So jury also enjoyed it.
Yes, very joyful. Unfortunately, I have to proclaim our contest to be over. So look forward to the results. Look forward to the results on our site. So you will see soon. Oh, sorry! I'm sorry. Мы с вами забыли еще очень важную, очень главную вещь. Наши с вами сертификаты участников, и каждый из участников получает еще благодарность учителю, который подготовил нашего участника этого конкурса. Поэтому, чтобы не забыть наших учителей, которые, я думаю, что все равно без них, наверное, не все получилось бы гладко и красиво. Итак, Жаклин, еще разок, пожалуйста, сюда, для того, чтобы получить и свой сертификат, и сертификат для учителя. Яков, пожалуйста, Шамрин Яков,
Школа 1621, древо жизни. Мне очень понравилось название вашей школы. Спасибо вам.
Метро Красные ворота, это Козловский переулок.
Отлично, так. Нефедова Ксения. Пардон, так, я сейчас сразу откладываю, сейчас, секундочку. Угу. Так, Сергеева Елизавета. Сюда, спасибо огромное. Так, здесь тоже у нас отсутствует. Так, уже убежала. Сейчас, секундочку. Так, Чиличкина Дарья. Дарья. Так, точно так же и для учителя сертификат. Дина Морозова. Dinosaur. Thank you very much. Никитина Влада. Влада is speaking for the second time, if I'm not mistaken, I see. Родного Света. So for you and for the teacher. Светкина Алина. Низник Софья. Teacher as well. Яна Бычкова. Гордеева Дарья. Светская Элла. Я должна отметить, наверное, действительно учителя, который подготовил 3 учеников и привел к нам сюда. Я так понимаю, что это Елена Ивановна, если я не ошибаюсь. Да? То есть спасибо огромное, спасибо за удовольствие. Очень надеюсь, что вы, может быть, в своем округе тоже как-то посоветуете, может быть, расскажете, может быть, действительно в следующий раз будет народу побольше. На самом деле мы всегда говорим, что этот конкурс больше в своей степени именно для детей, которые хотят и умеют красиво говорить. Честно слово, я получила сегодня огромное удовольствие. Просто огромное удовольствие. Я думаю, что жюри сейчас будет немножко в таком трудном, сложном положении, потому что выбрать лучших из лучших – это очень сложно. Вы все лучшие, я вас уверяю, вы самые лучшие, вы все молодцы. Спасибо вам огромное. Спасибо, приходите к нам еще.